Have you ever wondered what was contained in the first ever photograph? Was it a person? A thing? Actually, it was a landscape photo taken from a window in a country house. All things considered, it was probably more of a test, if anything. A test of the new process Joseph Nicéphore Niépce called a heliograph, from the Greek words meaning sun and writing. The first ever photograph wasn't on film or paper, but on an iron plate of a view from a window for sure, but it's not known from an attic or from the second floor of a country house in Gras, France. Taken by Niépce himself in 1826. It's hard to make out what is in the frame, but from left to right, there is the upper loft of the family home, or so-called pigeon house, a pear tree with a patch of sky showing through an opening in the branches, the slanting roof of the barn with the long roof and low chimney of the bakehouse behind it, and on the right another wing of the family house. To make this image, Niépce placed a camera obscura loaded with a polished, light-sensitive, bitumen-coated pewter plate and aimed it toward the view outside. A camera obscura is a dark chamber with a pinhole on one side. When you look through a hole, what is on the other side appears in the projected image. To make it work, Niépce uncovered the lens so the light could expose onto the polished 6.4-inch by 8-inch pewter plate coated with the light-sensitive bitumen of Judea and naturally occurring asphalt for anywhere from 8 hours to several days. After this long exposure, he obtained the earliest surviving camera-made photograph. It's hard to make out what everything is, but once you can differentiate what is in the scene, you'll notice that everything has been lit from all sides. Being that it was such a long exposure, the sun had time to bathe everything in light as it appeared to travel across the sky. Once he was satisfied with the exposure time, he covered the lens hole, removed the plate, and washed it with a mixture of lavender oil and white petroleum, which dissolved parts of the bitumen that were hardened by the exposure to light. When Niépce went to the United Kingdom to show his work to others, he met botanist and illustrator Francis Bauer, who encouraged Niépce to continue his work, present it to the Royal Society, and to gain recognition for his contribution to the world. Bauer inscribed a message on the back of the plate, including the date, which would come in handy years to come. When this was presented to the Royal Society to claim his stake for the invention, they remarked and noted the instantaneous speed with which Niépce's chemistry began reacting to transform light into an image. The whole instant process was actually a scene of hours, if not days. This sequence of events all took place 10 years before the pioneering photographic process popularized by Louis Daguerre in 1839. In fact, a relationship was formed between Niépce and Daguerre 10 years prior, when Niépce was trying to seek funding for his project and fell short with any government or scientific organizational funds. Niépce hoped to capitalize upon the theatrical connections held by Daguerre. Unfortunately, Daguerre had greatly oversold his own promise of photographic experiments, which were rudimentary at best. When he visited Niépce at his home, it was there that he learned of the heliographic process. In just a few short years, Niépce would die of a stroke, leaving his family relatively penniless, but also leaving Daguerre to continue developing the photographic process and shaping it to his own ideas. This was a man who contributed very little to the development of the original heliographic experiments and would spend the next decade tweaking a new process, selling it to the French government in 1839. For more than a century, Daguerre took the credit as the maker of the earliest surviving photograph, while Niépce's involvement received a little recognition. That is, until View from a Window at Gras was found and plucked from obscurity, the back side of the plate containing the inscription by Bauer along with the date showing it preceded the work done by Daguerre. This may have never happened if the original plate hadn't been lost in 1952 and tracked down by historian Helmut Gernsheim. After Niépce's death, the original photographic plate passed between hands in the Bauer estate. After its last exhibition in 1898, it slipped into obscurity and did not resurface, that is, until Gernsheim got involved. Gernsheim was able to follow clues, establish the work's provenance, and discover where family members of the plate's last recorded owner had forgotten that it was stored away. He verified the authenticity, obtained it for his collection, and returned Joseph Nicéphore Niépce to the rightful place as the world's first photographer. Eventually, Harry Ransom purchased the Gernsheim collection for the University of Texas at Austin in 1963. Now, the Niépce heliograph, the world's earliest known photograph, forms the cornerstone not only to UT's photography collection, but stands as one of the most unique and significant treasures in the world. The Niépce house from which the view was captured is still around today. It's located in a village called Saint-Louis-de-Varennes and is now a museum, open for visitors in July and August. The property was eventually divided in the mid-19th century, but the house is largely intact. There's been some debate from which floor the photo was taken, some suggesting the attic, while some experts think that it was from the first floor. It could be that the window from which it was taken isn't even there anymore. A restoration of the house in 1999 revealed evidence of a remodeling that moved the window on the first floor. But even if you wanted to go there to try and recreate the first ever photographic image, you won't be able to. Photos are not allowed in the Photography Museum. Niépce's incredible creativity and determination paved the way for an entirely new art form that has touched the lives of countless people around the world. Through this simple lens, we were able to witness history unfold. As of today, there are 1.81 trillion photos taken worldwide every year. That's about 57,000 photos taken per second. And it all stemmed from the humble beginnings with a view from a window at Gras.